The United States has military bases in over 70 countries. Its navy patrols every major ocean. Its currency dominates global trade. And when conflict breaks out anywhere on Earth, the world looks to Washington. But why? Why does America act like the world's police? Did it volunteer for the job? Was it forced into it? Or does it benefit from staying in control? The answer is complicated, and it didn't start the way you think. For most of human history, the US wasn't the global power. That role belonged to empires. First Spain, then France, then Britain. The British Empire once controlled nearly a quarter of the planet. They protected trade routes with the Royal Navy. They enforced order, often brutally. They shaped global commerce. But empires collapse, and when World War II ended in 1945, Europe was destroyed. Britain was bankrupt, and Germany and Japan were defeated. And suddenly, only one country stood untouched: the United States. Its factories were intact, its military was unmatched, its economy was booming. For the first time in modern history, there was a power vacuum, and America stepped into it. After World War II, the world wasn't peaceful, it was terrified. The Soviet Union emerged as a rival superpower: communism versus capitalism, East versus West. And suddenly, the planet was divided. This was the Cold War. It wasn't just about ideology, it was about influence. If one country fell to Soviet control, others might follow. This was called the domino theory. So the US made a decision: contain communism everywhere. That meant Korea, Vietnam, Latin America, the Middle East, Africa. Well, not because each place directly threatened American soil, but because global balance mattered. This is where the world police role truly began. Here's something most people don't realize. After World War II, the US didn't just build an army, it built alliances. NATO in Europe, security treaties in Asia, military bases across the globe. Why? Because stability protects trade, and trade fuels economies. The US Navy began patrolling sea lanes, ensuring oil, goods, and resources could move freely. Piracy decreased. Global commerce exploded. Countries could rely on American protection instead of building massive militaries. In exchange, they aligned politically and economically. This system made America not just powerful, but central. Another reason the US polices the world? Money. After World War II, the Bretton Woods Agreement made the US dollar the global reserve currency. Oil is traded in dollars. International trade runs through American financial systems. Sanctions become powerful weapons. When the US cuts a country off financially, it hurts. This financial power allows America to influence global events without firing a shot. But it also means instability anywhere can affect US interests. So when crises erupt abroad, America steps in. Because global chaos can mean economic shockwaves at home. Now, here's where it gets controversial. Supporters argue the US maintains global order, prevents larger wars, deters aggressive regimes, protects smaller nations. Without a dominant power, history shows vacuums lead to chaos. Critics argue the US intervenes for oil, for influence, for corporate interests, for dominance. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, yes, each intervention sparked debate. Were they necessary or overreach? Was America protecting freedom or protecting power? The truth depends on perspective, and perspective depends on where you stand. Policing the world isn't free. The US spends more on its military than the next several countries combined. Trillions of dollars over decades. American soldiers deployed across continents, lives lost, families affected. And at home, critics ask, Why are we spending billions overseas? When problems exist here? Infrastructure, healthcare, education. The debate isn't simple. Global leadership brings global responsibility, but also global exhaustion. Here's the bigger question. What happens if the US stops policing the world? Some believe other powers would fill the vacuum. China, Russia, regional coalitions. History suggests power vacuums rarely stay empty. Sea lanes could become contested. Alliances could collapse. Regional wars could expand. Others argue a multipolar world could balance itself. Less dominance, more cooperation. But history shows something uncomfortable. When dominant powers retreat suddenly, conflict often follows. So the US faces a dilemma. Stay involved and be criticized, or step back and risk instability. America can't just walk away. The US isn't just involved because it wants to be. It's because the system is interconnected. Supply chains cross continents. Energy markets link economies. Cyber threats ignore borders. Terrorism operates globally. In today's world, isolation is nearly impossible. If oil prices spike in the Middle East, Americans feel it at the pump. If Taiwan is threatened, global tech markets shake. If NATO weakens, Europe destabilizes. America's global presence isn't just military, it's economic, political, strategic, and unwinding that would take decades. Is this role permanent? Empires don't last forever. Spain faded. Britain declined. The question isn't whether America will always lead. The question is how the transition would happen. Peacefully or through conflict. China is rising. Russia challenges influence. Regional powers are growing. The global system is shifting. But for now, no country matches the US in combined military, economic, and alliance strength. Which means, whether welcomed or criticized, America remains the world's default responder. So why does the US police the world? Because after World War II, it built a system of trade, security, on alliances, and financial dominance. And once you build a global system, you become responsible for maintaining it. Some call it protection, some call it control, some call it necessity. But it's rarely simple. Power always comes with trade-offs. The real question isn't, why does America police the world? The real question is, if it stopped tomorrow, would the world be safer or more dangerous? Because in global politics, there are no perfect choices, only consequences. And history has shown one thing clearly. When power shifts, the world feels it.